Welcome to the only place where real, raw, and vulnerable conversations happen with IFBB bikini pros to give you an inside look at their struggles, strategies, mindset, passions, and all of life beyond the stage. This podcast is made to inspire, motivate, and remind competitors and the average gym goer that even the most extreme lifestyles and elite athletes have their ups and downs. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm your host, Celeste Rains-Turk, and now it's time for the Confessions of a Bikini Pro podcast. Today, we are speaking with a six-time pro champion. She is an Arnold and Olympia competitor who has been competing and inspiring others since 2011. And she is a mom to her two girls and a wife to her husband and IFBB pro Marco Rivera, who she designs fitness wear with for their company Conviction Bodybuilding. Welcome to the show. Yes. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me get this right. YESHAIRA Robles Rivera. How are you doing?
Yay! Hi,
I'm
doing great. Yes, you got it. I know my name gets butchered sometimes.
I was like, I will not do that.
No, it's perfect. YESHAIRA. Hey, thanks for having me.
Of course. I'm so happy you're here. Like I said before we recorded, I just love your energy. And I know there's a lot of girls, like I said in the intro, who have been inspired by you for so long. You are considered, an OG in the industry. So I'm excited that you're here.
OG.
Exactly. You are, though. And you have had such a great journey through competing, and you recently stepped on stage again. So before we get into all of that, though, I have a question I ask everybody when they come on. And that is, what is something you do, or maybe a ritual you have, or something you think about right before your heel hits the stage?
Oh man, honestly, I do get nervous. I feel like I'm gonna pass out sometimes. Like,
Wow.
I know I'm a pro at this, and sometimes I'm like, oh, here we go. But I just tell myself, all right, here we go. Let's do this. Turn the lights, like it's a switch, and go ahead and just rock it. That's it.
That's awesome. I love it. I can't believe that you go from like, I'm gonna pass out to like, flip the switch, let's go.
Yes. All the time. I'm gonna pass out. I'm like, oh, I'm out of breath. Oh, here we go. Especially when you see the line getting shorter and shorter.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, here we go. All right. I'm coming.
Well, isn't the Pro League also by last name as well, unless you're like a defending champion?
Yes, it goes by last name too. So sometimes you're like, I'm pretty much the last one to come out. But at the Arnold, sometimes it's they draw the numbers, so they just randomly give you a number.
Oh,
and
man.
That happened to me in 2013. I think it's 13 or 14. I was number one.
Oh my
so
gosh.
Could you imagine when I tell you I'm about to pass out? That's the first one. I'm like, oh boy.
Oh my gosh. Sometimes I'm like, you know what? It would be great to be the first one because you are like, it's almost just like a fresh slate. But then I'm also like, no, because you're literally backstage. They're calling you up, you're waiting back there, then it's like, all right, let's hit the stage, and you have to like walk out there, be the first one to do it.
Yes. Like you're healed, you're standing there because you have to wait for all the girls to come out. And then sometimes the light is so hot, then you start sweating, dripping. I'm like, oh, not right now.
I know. What the heck, right? The lights get really hot, and it's like you're already, for me, I get like so cold backstage, but then like when you're in line, your body temperature, it's like it's fighting you, it's like, why are we so hot? And there's so much to do. So I love that you say, despite being a pro, doing this for like almost a decade, you still get nervous.
Well, wow, it's 10 years. Yeah. I still get nervous every time.
Awesome.
Every time.
Shows that you care. And you've really had a journey through competing, and over the years you've shared a lot of that with your audience, which is really cool. And you actually made a few videos on your Instagram TV documenting your journey and your struggles with getting into your preps, or like getting into like a photo shoot prep as well and saying goodbye to some of the foods you love and adjusting back into a more serious
Oh,
mindset. So like what
yes.
actually inspires you to share those parts of the journey? Because not a lot of girls, I think, are willing to be that vulnerable.
I know I want to because, I want to show them that it's not perfect. I mean, for myself, I am not perfect. Like I have, when I eat and I get big. And then when my clothes don't fit, I get upset and then I eat more. But then I'm like, okay, I have to share this with everyone so they can see, it's not something, it's normal, it's normal. You're not going to be athletic all the time, and you're going to have your ups and downs, but I mean, so everyone can see, I want to share my journey and tell them, how when you put your mind and you set it, this is it, it can happen. It can definitely happen.
Absolutely. And do you feel like you've been able to almost learn from all these ups and downs you've had and develop a lifestyle that's more balanced, or maybe one where you don't have to go through that stage of I eat and I gain a lot of weight and then I have to cut down again? Or do you feel like you're always gonna kind of take that cutting approach?
I know, to be honest,
Uh-huh.
keep I keep eating, man, and I told myself that like after the Arnold, I was going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
And my thing is more. It's not more of it's not a binge eating. It's more of I eat a big breakfast, I eat a big lunch, I have a big dinner, and then I'll have like a snack, like a dessert towards the end. But what's working for me now is actually, I mean, like if I count my calories on my macros and I tell myself, right, and I want to eat whatever I want and I put it in there, then it's more of a moderation of food. So I know,
Mm-hmm.
okay, this is all I'm going to eat and that's it. Because when I don't do that and I just eat and I just don't count, and then I end up putting on the weight.
Right.
But when
So
I stay focused and, it works, like that it does work. The whole macros and counting and staying in the gym too.
okay, this is what I wanted to know from you because, and I didn't expect you to know this about me, but I help women with their relationship with food. And so I found it really fascinating to watch you discuss what you go through. And I love what you just said, which is like you found something now that works for you, but you also have a level of acceptance for the way your body changes and the way your commitments change, and how it's not always about being stage lean or always about being perfect. And you sound
Yeah.
like you're mostly at peace with that.
Oh yeah, I'm so at peace. I am. I am.
You've been doing this for a
I,
while and you've had a
I've been
lot of,
doing it for a while.
yeah, you've had a lot of those physical transformations too. So, aside from like competing, I know in your pregnancies, you also kept it real. You gained like 81 pounds in your pregnancy with Leah, your second child. You had already
Yes,
competed, or you had already had your first child when you started competing. So,
yes.
how has your body image changed over the years since having your daughters?
So when I had Lila, my first child, she was 2 years old when I started competing. I did gain 67 pounds with her too.
Wow.
With her I gained 67 pounds, and then pretty much after that, I mean with Lila, I guess when I started doing my little cardios and little weight training and stuff like that, and then I started competing. I mean within the year I ended up photo shoot ready after Lila. Like it took me like less than a year to get. So I was doing actually acting and modeling and music videos and stuff. So I had to,
Wow.
before the fitness thing, that's what I was doing. So I got a photo shoot ready with Lila, and then I did the competing, and then with Leah, with the pregnancy with Leah, 81 pounds it actually stretched my skin so much on my abdomen and my stomach.
Mm-hmm.
And the dissecti recti, the separation of the abdominals that happens to women with pregnancy. So I did with my first pregnancy, I did have to. So even though, I mean, when I started competing, you wouldn't see it because it gotten better with time. but if I was to bend over, you'll see the looseness of my skin on my stomach. So pretty much the body changes would be that, like the stretch marks and the loose skin.
How did you feel when you saw your body change that way?
I didn't, at first I was like, oh my goodness, I'm not going to be able to get back on stage. And then I'm like, well, you know what? I love competing and I want to share it with everybody else. And I was like, you know what? I love my body now, whether it's big or small, or all these marks that I have all over my body. I'm good. I'm at peace with it now, you know, like I'm like, this is me. This is, you know, I gave birth to 2 beautiful girls. And it's what happens, you know?
Yeah, actually, I feel like when women, there's been a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, I don't know. It's like people share their story and it acts as like a form of proof. The name is escaping me. But anyway, there's a lot of stories out there about women who have actually experienced a more positive body image after pregnancy or after having babies, because they're able to realize and see the power of their body. So it's not so much just about the aesthetic, but it's like, look at what I created. Look what my body can do.
Yes. And how you can transform, like how you can do anything with it. Like I was humongous, I was 206 pounds. I said I wasn't going to stay like this. And then within less than a year, I got back in shape for a photo shoot after baby number 2.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, if you can, the things that your body can do, like it's amazing.
So what was that like for you then, to go from being pregnant to then deciding to start competing and then getting pregnant 7 years later and then going back to competing again? What's this journey been like for you?
I know, I feel like well, at first, I love the sport. Like, I love it. I love, you know, changing my body and just making it look better. And when I started competing, every show, my body was just changing. It kept changing and changing, and it looks better and better and better from 2010 to 2014.
Yeah.
And then we weren't trying to have a baby. We've been trying before, and it never happened. That's why I was shocked when I found out I was pregnant after the Olympia.
You hadn't been trying?
We've been trying.
Oh, you had
happened.
been the whole time?
Yeah.
Oh my
time.
gosh.
It's like, hey. Yeah. So
wait,
I
do you
wasn't
think
using
that was
any
like
protection or.
Okay. I was like, wait, did you think that you weren't getting pregnant because you were so active, or do you think it was just like the timing? Like, what do you think allowed you to actually finally, because you got pregnant, you found out you're pregnant 2014 after the Olympia.
Yeah, after. That's why I wasn't taking anything, and I don't know maybe it's the time.
Wow.
Because I was, you know how they say sometimes women can get pregnant at low body fat percentage, but it happened to me. I don't know.
That's amazing.
To me after 7 years of because I wanted to have another one after a year, 2 years, but it wasn't happening. So I was like, oh, I guess Lila's going to be the only child then. But then Leah came along.
Wow.
And then when Leah came, I was dieting all the time, and eating.
Yeah. Wait, did you eating? When you got pregnant with Leah, were you having your periods during that time of all those preps as well, in that 7-year time span? Okay. Yeah. I was curious about that. Okay, got it. So anyway, continue. I was cutting you off because I was like clarifying.
No, yeah. It was on point every month. Wow. Exactly. I never lost it or anything. And and then I just got, but even before, like I wasn't like after the show, like I would usually do the Arnold, and then I'll do Pittsburgh, and then I'll do New York. And then after I did finish New York, I would eat whatever I want. And then sometimes I'll go to the gym. Sometimes I didn't really have a proper off season. And then I had to get ready for the Olympia. So here I am cutting down, like got ready for a show, and like times 10, I'll give myself 12 weeks. It ends up being 10 weeks, and then 8 weeks, and then 6 weeks. I'm cashing in.
Yeah.
So I never gave myself a, so it's either like, I don't know, I have a thing like either I give it 100% and I go to the gym and I eat good, don't eat good. I eat whatever I want and I don't go to the gym. But now this time, 2020, it's like, okay, no, it's different now. Now YESHAIRA's going to eat, but she's going to stay consistent with the gym and the training and the cardio and all that stuff.
Yes, 2020, no time for any of that, mistreatment of
No,
yourself.
no.
Honoring your
Yes.
goals now, honoring your work, because you work so hard. And I think a lot of girls struggle with that, but it really just comes down to like, you got to make a decision. And I know there was a moment for you prepping for this past Arnold, actually, where you made a decision. You're like, I'm going to show my coach, who's also your husband, that I'm serious.
Yes.
What was
Yeah.
that? Like, what was that that drove you and made you go, this is it. Now it's time to put the game face on?
I know, because I was out of control with I was just eating, again, not just eating anything, just eating like pancakes, eggs over medium with bacon, and then later on I'll have a big lunch, and and then my desserts, or at work I'll go to restaurants for happy hour and just eat. And then I'm like, and then I won't go to the gym. And he sees that. He's like, oh, you're not training. I'm like, oh. And so the months go by, and I was like, you know what? That's it. I need to show him. I need to get back in shape. I need to take care of myself. To take care of my body, because then after a while, I don't want to keep losing myself. So then I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I said, I'm going to apply for the Arnold, and if I get an invite, I'm going to be 100%. And I told him, he's like, oh, you better start trying now, to see. And I'll try like a 1 week, 2 weeks, failed. I tried 4 weeks, failed. Like I couldn't get past day 4 or sometimes a week. I was just like, oh, I can't do it. I'm like, oh. But then I was like, all right, he's like, you see? And I was like, no, it's not that. But then I was like, you know what? I really want to also show women out there, moms, that it doesn't matter. You have loose skin, stretch marks or anything. I just wanted to just for one more time too, just so they can see videos and footage. And then after me being strict for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then I ended up going again to happy hour, and I ate and I drank, and then the list came out. After, and then when the list came out, I said, all right, one more day. One more day, and then after that, I was just strict. I mean, but it's just crazy because I went from eating and drinking whatever anything, and then just strict to 5 to 6 meals a day every day. And it just happened overnight, like from one day to another. It happened real quick.
Yeah, sometimes it really is about just making a decision. And there's a lot of girls that I work with, they struggle with really committing to their preps and really staying on point with their plan or their nutrition. And a lot of that's because of that all or nothing mindset, or that like, I'll never be able to have this again, or, oh, it's not on my plan, so I'm going to eat all of it now. But there's also, that other side of things where it's like, you also don't have this opportunity to prep for the Arnold all the time.
Exactly.
Like, it's a once in a lifetime. You actually had to be like accepted, an official invite, accepted. In your letter, by the way, did you write that you wanted to inspire moms? Like, what do you think was it? Okay.
I wanted to. I said, you know what? I did it in 2013, 2014. I would love to come back, inspire moms that, like even show a before picture, after picture, like this is how I looked. This is what I want to do one more time. And I also said, because I would say I was going to do either, let's say, New York Pro every year, and I would not, because I would start my diet and then I just don't have to. I don't have to commit, because it's not a sign, it's not a contract that but the Arnold, once you get an invite, you can't back out.
If you do, it's definitely got to be a good reason.
Yeah, it has to be a really good reason. If not, you get penalized, and I couldn't. Like, there was days that it was tough, and I'm like, oh, what am I doing? Why am I doing this to myself? And I'm like, no, we gotta come on. Let's keep pushing forward. Let's keep pushing forward. Let's do this one more time. And maybe I'll do another show next year. I don't, you know.
Okay, that was my next question. I was like, okay, are you doing this? Because you've said a few times now, like one more time, and I'm like, does she mean that?
I know. I always say one more time, like, and then I'm like, oh, but no, because that was my incentive to get ready. Like, after I had Leah in 2015, I was like, all right, I got to compete because I got to get in shape, and then I got in shape, and then I ate again, and then. But I feel like competing gives me, like, all right, I'm gonna do a show, so I'm gonna get in shape. But now I'm like, okay, it's all right. You need to just stay focused and still train. Continue doing what you're doing, and you don't have to be that small to be in shape,
Exactly. And
you don't have to do a show.
Right. Yes, that's what I was going to say.
You don't have to do a show.
You don't need a show to take care of yourself and
to take care of yourself.
Yeah. You deserve to love the body you're living in and express that love through action and nourishment and thoughts. And it's interesting because competitors, we tend to get into this mindset of like, we associate competing with having our best body. So then when our body's just like, slightly not where we want it, we think immediately, oh, I got to prep for a show. Oh, I got to commit to a show date and that'll get me on track. But it's like, well, let's back up. Why can't you create or emulate it in another way?
Exactly. And that's what I want to do now. Like, I can't be that small. My body does not want to be so tiny anymore. Like, it's like I was 109 pounds.
Oh my
gosh. I was 100, and it's crazy because for the Arnold, right? When we drove to Ohio, and it was like 9 hours. So now I was retaining all this water on my legs, all this water. So then my husband was like, oh my God. And then we're like, we got there Thursday. And then I did a little, like a half-hour cardio session to see if I could down to the water. So then he gave me some drugs to take. And I guess the next day, I guess the diuretic pulled so much water that the water came out, but now my skin was so loose.
Oh,
and then it took time. Yeah, like we were trying to do so much, and then it took time to like I was carving up really early, but I wasn't. I guess it wasn't. My body was just taking it, and just the metabolism was just moving fast. It was just coming out fast. That when I got on stage, like I know people probably thought that I was nervous.
Yeah.
Or, but I wasn't. The thing was that because my skin on my glutes was not filled up how it's supposed to be, I could not be on stage for so long. You know what I mean? The
Otherwise, it would
are going to be there.
Yeah.
Exactly, yes. The movement. You can't do the movement. You can't do the walk because, like, even in the, like, we tried to, like, carb up. Like, we tried it all. But I guess it was, I guess I had to, like, do it a week before or maybe a week and a half before,
Dang.
Yeah. So then I was like, that's how I have to go in, hit my shots, and be out.
Yeah. And that's like, that's the crazy thing about competing. Like, you don't know exactly how your body's going to respond to even something like driving, sitting in a car and going somewhere. It's like, then when you get there, you have all these questions in your head, like, oh my gosh, well, what if I had done this? Or what if we did that? And it's like, at the end of the day, you're there and you have to now do whatever you can to bring.
Yeah, whatever you can to, yeah. And then the week before when I was eating pancakes and syrup and all that stuff, and we tried it, and when I woke up in the morning, everything looked nice. Everything was full. Everything was tight. It was great. So it's just crazy how the body goes from that, and then you're like, okay, you're on, and then it was just like, boom. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, and that's not even something you can prepare for. Like, your guys aren't going to be like, let's get in the car for 9 hours and test this out. Like, it just doesn't
Yeah.
work like that.
Yeah, it was like, oh, I'm like, well, I mean, it is what it is. There's nothing we can do.
Right. Right.
You know, there's nothing we can do. That's what happens. That's what happens.
Which, by the way, actually, I'm thinking now, what was it like to compete without a big audience and all the usual Arnold festivities?
Oh, it was so weird. It was so quiet.
That's what I would
Like,
have
it was
imagined.
quiet. Like, I'm like, oh, it was just quiet. There was nobody in the audience, just the judges, and you're making eye contact with like the judges, but there was nobody else. You're like, oh my goodness, this is insane. And it was sad,
Wow.
because there were so many people that wanted to come and cheer you
Mm-hmm.
on, and they weren't able to. And everyone that was going for the expos, and I mean, it was a really sad time. It was sad. It was sad too, and it was just weird. It was like it didn't feel like it was a show.
Okay, I was wondering about that because, like, a lot of us were watching the live stream, and as I was watching, I was like, man, how weird that must feel to walk out on stage and there's no audience there. So, especially like a big prestigious show like that, and as an elite competitor, there's a part of you that does, feed off of that energy. And of course, you're locked in on the judges,
Yeah.
but there's like, it's a
Mhm.
performance as well. So,
Yeah.
I can only imagine how strange that must have been, and it almost makes me think of like dress rehearsals, when you do like plays or when you do like a talent show at school. Like, that's what I can think of, is like no one's in the
Yeah, that's how it
audience.
is. Nobody in the audience, just you and your coaches and the teachers.
Your coach is in the back corner like, whoa, yeah. That's crazy. Well, thanks for sharing your
Yeah.
experience about that, because I was like, how did that end up going? Which I hadn't even thought of until you had mentioned what actually happened to you leading into it. And another thing you did talk about too was how your husband is witnessing you through all of this. How did you guys meet? And did you guys get into bodybuilding together?
Oh, me and my husband, no, we didn't get into. So we met a long time, 2000.
Uh-huh.
We're probably, what, 20 years together now in
Yeah.
August? Yeah, it was 20 years. So well, before that, I had a crush on him, and I was young. And then it's funny how then later on in the years passed by, and then we meet again, and then we started dating.
Did you
And
guys go to school together?
no, no, we in the neighborhood where my mom lives.
Oh, okay.
That's where I met him. Yeah, there was nothing with bodybuilding at all. So it was just, me and him just hanging out, bike riding. We used to do the motorcycles and stuff. And then that's when he went to the gym, and I was into the whole acting, right? So I
Hmm.
was gone for hours, and then he would just be at the gym, and he was like, "Why don't you come to the gym?" And I was like, "Oh, I really, I'm not into. I honestly, I didn't know what was a bicep, tricep, glute, hamstring. You tell me what the heck? I didn't know nothing, nothing."
Uh-huh.
He was like, "Come on," and then I went one day, and I was just pulling on some bars. I didn't like it. I was like, "Oh, this is not for me. I don't want to." So then years went by, and then I was like, let me join him, because then because I was like, let me just stop the whole acting and stuff, and let me just join him in this bodybuilding thing and just go to the gym with him. And then that's when I went to a show, and I was like, oh, I want to do this. And then that's when, yeah, everything started.
Wow.
So we didn't meet. We didn't meet in the whole industry. We met way before that.
That's awesome. I love that so much. How cool.
Yeah, and then I started. It's funny because he was into, like, okay, he's gonna be a pro, he's gonna
Uh-huh.
get sponsored, and he's gonna go to the Olympia and win shows. And I was like, oh, cool, cool. I said, yo, I want to do this too. So he said, what? So my first year, which was 2010, I trained in January for it, right? January. I competed in April at the Metropolitan,
Mm-hmm.
Steve Metropolitan, 2010. And then I just got a bikini. I had no tan on. I was pale white. I thought I had enough makeup on. And then I went on stage and I was just like, hey, and I got fourth and I was so happy.
Wow.
I was like, oh, this is how it is. I was like, oh, I want to do this again. So then that's when I got a Victoria's Secret bathing suit.
Oh my gosh. With a push-up probably.
And I did a manic stage. This time I was dark. I had my hair straight. I had some makeup on. And then I did the manic stage and I got fifth. And then I went to I did the Eastern that November, and then he was going to compete at nationals because he already qualified. So I said, "Oh, I'm gonna do this too." He's like, "What?" He said, "You're gonna throw yourself with the wolves?" I'm like, "Why not? You're going. I'm gonna go. So I'll just jump on stage and compete." And I ended up doing it. And I came home with a trophy. I got fourth, and he didn't. So I was like, "Oh, I couldn't even celebrate because he was just like, what?" But then, and then after that, the following year, I started telling him, "All right, I have goals now. So I wanna turn pro, and then I wanna get sponsored, and then after I get sponsored, I wanna win shows and compete in the Olympia." He looked at me like I had like 6 heads. He's like, "Yeah, right." He's like, "That's not going to happen." And it happened.
Wait, why didn't he think it was going to happen?
Because he thought I was just crazy. Like, he thought this wasn't for me. He's like, no.
Wow.
Because I was just doing it just to get him jealous, put a bikini and, be on stage. But it ended up being something I loved.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and then he was just shocked. He's like, "How the hell did this girl turn pro before me?" I'm like, "Oh, yes."
And then you ended up doing all the things you said you would do.
I did it. That's why I tell everyone, I say, you put it out there in the universe, and I tell you, you go for it, you're going to accomplish everything that you want. You will. You will. I tell everybody, just do it. Just do it. Put your head into it, and you will accomplish a lot.
That actually makes me think of something, because one of the girls who listens to this show had submitted a question for you. And she's from the Bronx as well. And she says that sometimes she feels like she's getting judged for having the Bronx be part of her identity, and then the statistics of success. And she brought up this quote, like, your success is determined by your zip code. And she wanted to know if anyone ever doubted or judged your success, or if there was ever a time where you felt other competitors had more privilege than you to achieve that success.
No, actually, no. I think I was really proud of saying and everyone knowing this girl from the Bronx that grew up in the ghetto. That's where I grew up in the ghetto, and I accomplished all of this, and people were just inspired.
Yeah.
And but I don't, like, every time I always wanted to keep that. I want you to say Bronx, from the Bronx, New York, because this is where I was born, raised, and this is what everything came out of. And no, nobody never doubted me or anything. And I never felt like different or thought that somebody thought different about me. No,
that's awesome.
I never had that behind me. Or,
I love that. No, I think that's great. And I think that's probably going to really inspire her. And I appreciate you sharing your experience with that as well. And I want to also know what it's like to actually be coached by your husband, Marco, like training with him, living with him. How do you keep those boundaries between wife, competitor, client, coach, mom, all these different roles?
Oh, I know. Well, before, when it all started, when he was getting ready for shows, and I started in January because I wanted to just diet, I was just following. He wasn't my coach. It was just me. I was just following whatever he was eating, half. So whatever he ate, I ate half.
Wow.
I ate, so if he ate 6 ounces of chicken, I was eating 3 ounces of chicken. I was having half the carbs, and I was training myself. I was doing my cardio sessions and workouts and stuff. And then that year I did it alone. And then I saw Shannon with Bombshell Fitness, Shannon Day, and her husband Rob, well, ex-husband now. But I joined them in when I saw them in nationals in November. I was like, oh my God, this is a group of girls. I said, I want to do this. So I started working with them for a while. And then I loved them so much. They were amazing. Between them two, they started, and one was pulling me here and one was pulling me there, and I didn't want to choose. So then I was like, I'm gonna just go and
hold on. You broke up a little bit. What would you say? Someone was pulling you in what direction?
Oh, because they were she was communicating with her, but then her husband like, no, me. And
hold on. You're still breaking up.
Oh,
sorry.
No.
Well, yeah,
no,
sorry.
Let me move around.
Okay, thank you.
How about now? You hear me?
I think
Better?
so. I'll let you know.
Okay. Okay, let me know. So when they were getting separated from the team, because they had this team, I joined with both of them together. When they were separating, I couldn't choose between them. Like Shannon was like come with her, and then Rob was come with her, and I couldn't. So I was like, I love you both. I can't choose, So I was like, I'm just gonna stay with my husband and continue, So that's what I did after that. It broke my heart because I really, care so much for them, and they showed me and taught me so much too. So then after that, in 2013, I started training with my husband. Then I started, working with him, and he was like, you need to follow this, follow that. It was hard with my husband. Because he's right there and he's watching me. Like before, I was like, I would eat like a pie, hey, and he would be like, you have permission to have that? I'm like, yes, my coaches said I could. It was a lie. I was just eating it. But like one time before I would hide things from him too. Like even when I was competing, when I did in 2014, when I was doing the Arnold, a week before the Arnold in 2014, that Saturday I ordered some Domino pizza, a medium pie, and I ate the whole thing that I brought in my mouth.
What? Before competing?
A week before the show, yeah.
Oh my God.
And I told myself, I said, see, my body, it needs like, you start learning your body, it needs certain, it needs this. And he would just think that I was insane because you know what I was doing? I swear I'm not lying. I was doing my Fitness Pal, right? And I would put in the stuff, everything in there, and that's what I would have. Like one time I had a bacon, egg, and cheese. I'm getting ready for the 2014 Arnold.
So you were doing like If It Fits Your Macros before it was a thing.
Yes. I was doing my Fitness Pal. And I started doing that I'm not lying, I did it for Olympia 2013. I thought it looked phenomenal. And then I did it for 2014. Since I did it, it was so good in 2013. I was like, you know what, let me try for 2014 also, And that's when I did the whole Arnold, and I did the whole eating what I thought was going to work for me, and the sweet potatoes, and all that stuff. And then I did Pittsburgh and then New York, and I won both. And then he was telling me, stay serious, stay strict, follow a diet, proper eating. And then I did that. And then for the Olympia 2014, I ended up getting fourth. But I feel like, my body, like I know my body so well that I know what certain foods I can have and can't have. And I know certain fats work. Like sometimes certain fats won't work for women, but sometimes it does. Like for me, it does. Like I need the fats.
Like it doesn't make you look too soft.
Yeah, it doesn't. But sometimes you want to be so careful, And then look what happens when you try new things. Sometimes it's best to stick to the old.
Yeah. And you know what? Like also, if you know what works best for your body, sometimes that's like the best thing you can do. And for some people, being overly strict ends up making them have an end result they don't like, because in being overly strict, they ended up going off their plan a bunch. They couldn't adhere. They didn't want to. They didn't like it as much.
Yeah.
And they were stressed. So there's so many different variables that go into that. And of course, you're a mom as well. So I'm sure that you're cooking for your girls, or your husband's cooking for your girls, and
Yeah.
you guys are both living this lifestyle. So how do you talk to
Yeah.
your kids about body image, and how do you talk to them about nutrition, or how do you speak about your body around your daughters?
Oh yeah, my daughters, they always like Lila, my oldest, she's
Mhm.
11. So she'll like she eats healthy. She'll eat her healthy foods and stuff, and then she'll have her little snacks. And before that, like when I was competing, I would see her looking at herself in the mirror, and I'm like, Lila, what are you doing? And she's like, oh no, my belly. I'm like, your belly? Yeah, you're still a baby. you know, because she sees me with abs, and she's like, what, I want to look like you. And I'm like, oh no, but you of course, but you have to be, you're young right now. You want to eat, you want to have, be good in your sports. She plays basketball, she rollerblades, she loves softball. It's like you're very athletic, you like to run. And then your body's beautiful. Like I'm like, I
Mhm.
can't have my daughter try to get like a 6 pack, like deprive herself
Mhm.
into like a competition diet. So I was like, I felt kind of bad. So now, but she sees that I eat. So I'm like, no, mommy eats too. You can eat too. There's no difference.
Mhm.
But she loves her body, and I told her, you want to stay healthy. It's for yourself. You want to be healthy. You want to be in shape. You want to live long. You don't want to get
Yes.
sick. You don't want to have too much sugar and get diabetes. You have to, control. She's like, oh no, mommy, yes, yes. So she's really good. The little one, she's 4. She doesn't. she
There's no
she doesn't know.
understanding yet.
Yeah.
Wow. So you
She,
said it, you kind of felt bad when your daughter said that, like, oh, look at my belly. And you encouraged her to
yeah.
see like how beautiful she was, and how, she's young, she has sports to play, she has to be strong, healthy, like you said, emphasizing feeling good. So when you said you felt bad, what was going through your mind about what she said? Like, how did you feel?
I felt like, how do I say it? I felt like she wasn't gonna accept her body because she wanted to look like me,
Mm.
like her stomach. I just was like I don't know, like I don't know. Like I told her, I said, Lila, this is more of a sport. It's just mommy does it for a sport. It's for fun. I like to do it. So I go on stage, put a bikini on, and that's it. But I kind of felt sad.
Yeah. Do you feel like
I
it
felt
was,
sad.
I could imagine feeling like really, I mean, anytime like someone young like talks about their body or nutrition in a negative way, it's really difficult, because you're like, oh, I don't want you to feel that way. And then
Yeah.
it's like, but why is it okay for adults to feel that way when we wouldn't want a child to feel that way? So I mean, it must be, as a mom, I've also, from other moms that I've talked to on this show, is it's like there's some mom guilt that comes up, some mom shame. So it sounds like you've really battled that, but instead addressed it by taking a more healthy approach and focusing on how she's able to like take care of her body. And it sounds like she's
Yeah.
responded well to that.
Yeah, she did. She did. I told her mommy's doing it for a sport. This is mommy's sport. This is what mommy does, mommy's hobby.
Mm-hmm.
Mommy gets in shape. She has to look a certain way for the competition. And then you see how mommy looks after. You know how you see how mommy be looking after.
You're
Mommy
like,
puts
it's
on weight.
normal.
It's normal.
Yeah, and that's the like there's a difference I think between like what does a normal body look like, right? Sometimes normal or average is
Yeah.
not healthy either, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, on average, statistically, a lot of people are obese. Like, that's not healthy. That's not okay.
That's
And
not
then
healthy.
it's
No.
also, like not healthy for to restrict and diet so much that then our body is starving and hurting and in pain. And And
Yeah.
so then we normalize things as competitors, like, oh, it's always going to be this up and down, but I really don't think it has to be. And it sounds like you're really getting to a
Right.
place where you don't want it to be like that anymore. And you're really finding,
Yeah.
like, what's your new normal, So what do you imagine your new normal being?
So my new normal now is like I'm eating, of course. I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'll go and I'll start using my it's called Fat Secret or Fitness Pal
Uh-huh.
to put my what I want to have. Sometimes I'll use the app, or sometimes I'll just, I won't go overboard. Like right now, I'm doing breakfast, lunch, dinner. I'll have a snack, two snacks in between, which would be fruit, and then I'll have some dessert. So if I want to have ice cream, or if I want to have a glass of wine. But I'm trying to stay consistent with my cardio sessions and the gym, because that's one thing that I did not do before. I would just eat. So then I would put on all this weight because I wasn't training and I wasn't doing cardio. So now my whole thing now is like I am having a healthy, more, like a healthy breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then just still training and doing my, my whole routine, and just loving how I'm looking. I can't be tiny anymore.
Yeah.
I feel like from 109, I really don't want to be 109. I really want to stay in between, like that 120, 125. I really don't want to be 150, 160 either, because that's not healthy for me, for my height either.
How tall are you?
5'2".
Okay. Yeah, I feel you on
So
that.
I have to stay in between. So right now, I'm just pretty much just enjoying myself, and I'm eating and I am training. And right now, I miss the gym, but I'm still doing certain things that I could do outside, or I have a Stairmaster at home, so I do my cardio.
Yeah, you guys are killing your outdoor workouts. I love it. I love it. It's so awesome.
My little outdoor workouts. And then it's funny because usually I'm like I can't show my stomach. My stomach, I don't have a six pack. Oh no, this time, listen, if I'm going to do jumping jacks, if I'm going to do shoulder presses and my little stomach is showing on the side, hey, that's what I'm going to post.
Yes.
It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be a
gosh,
perfect
yes.
six pack down there. You're going to see some, some rolls, or, it's normal.
We over attach to the things that we get judged on in competing. Like, we over attach to how tight is my stomach, like where's my waist at, like how do my shoulders look. And then it's like, when we take a step back and we evaluate how we're feeling and the life we're living, like you said, you're enjoying yourself, but you're not going to the
Yeah.
point of self-sabotage anymore. Like, it's now just,
Yeah.
let me be mindful of my decisions because I care about myself and because I
Yeah.
want better for myself. And then that breeds a new body as well, but it doesn't have to be from one extreme to the next.
Yeah. So like, with my goal right now is that I just don't, I want to make sure that I don't want to put on tons of body fat, and I don't want cellulite.
Yeah, it's hard to get that stuff off too.
Yes. So I'm like, I got it off for a show. I can't pack on. So that's why I'm making sure that I'm making wise decisions of the foods that I'm eating, and staying on top of my training. That's it. And enjoying myself. If I want to have a glass of wine, I'll have a glass of wine. If I want to do this, and that's it. That's what I come to now.
I love that. Oh my God, you must feel so much better. I mean, I'd actually,
Yes,
do you feel better living this way than, the
I
previous?
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do, because before it's always me saying, all right, I'm going to start Monday. I'm starting a diet on Monday. A diet for what? YESHAIRA? Like, really? Like,
Yeah.
for real? Even my husband would tell me the same thing too. He's like, why are you going to diet for? Just eat. But be mindful of what you eat, and just stay consistent with the gym. Don't deprive yourself of certain things, because then when you do, and then after a while, you're going to want to eat and you're not going to stop eating.
Exactly.
So just enjoy yourself. Yeah. But just don't go, So I'm like, yeah, I know. So there's no more dieting for me. No more, I'll start Monday, or I'm going to do a 4-week diet, 30-day diet.
That's awesome. Oh,
That
I'm
was
so
me for
glad.
the
That's
past few
cool.
years.
I know. I watched all your videos. I was like, what am I watching right now? I was like,
After the
what's
past few
happening?
years, every
And
freaking
that's
day I am
painful.
starting a new diet. Oh, it's horrible, because then I'm like, oh, and then sometimes it gets me miserable too. Like, sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
I'm miserable because I have to do this. But then I'm like, but why am I doing this for?
Right. Why can't you just do like what actually makes you happy, you know? And then you actually do that. And it's like, oh, that works. And, you know, we tend to realize that when we say like, there's a, like, okay, if I say I'm enjoying myself, people automatically assume I'm no longer being mindful of my decisions. I'm not staying on track with my diet. And I'm saying basically, F it, I don't care. But in reality, like if we think about it, enjoying ourselves means we're not going to the point of discomfort. That's not enjoyment. You know, that's not enjoyable. Like it's different. And I think we need to change that conversation around it. And so I love that you're bringing this up, because you've been through the pain of both sides, like obviously the extreme dieting that can come with competing, but also the ups and downs. And now you're really finding like, this is what I needed.
Finally.
Like, yeah. Oh, I love it.
Finally.
That's amazing.
Finally.
Well, okay. Actually, like, I had another question about your pregnancies. And I'm like, it's funny because I had so much I wanted to talk to you about. And I'm like, okay, I know it's a Mother's Day celebration series that I'm bringing her on for, but there's so much I wanted to talk about. So you had mentioned that you had, oh shoot, I'm going to butcher this, diastasis recti. Oh gosh.
Yeah, dissecti recti. Yeah.
Okay. So
recti, I think recti, I mean, I don't know. I butcher it too.
Well, whatever that thing is that makes abs separate.
Yes.
How did that impact your posing or your presentation? Like, what did you do to modify that?
So, like, with the whole pose, like the recti, see, what happens is like your intestines is bulging out from your abdominal, you know? So when you eat, like sometimes if you get bloated, it bloats your stomach and it looks like you're 5 months pregnant. Like there's some, if you look at images, like some of those things, it's like you look like you're 5 months pregnant. It's like a big bulge. So I really, like, I try to close it. Like I need to get like surgery for that. Like they need to sew up the abs. I gotta get it sewed up.
Because you're afraid of surgery.
No, I haven't done that. Yeah, I'm scared of that shit. So I haven't done that. But they have to sew up the abs. So I really have to like try to keep my core in tight, and then the loose skin on my abdomen, on my belly, that little section there, I had that loose skin. I have to like keep so what you do is you tie your bikini, your top bikini, you make sure that you lift up your boobs and you bring it up and you tie it real tight. So it minimizes it a little bit, so you can't see it that much.
Almost like tuck your skin in, or you're pulling it up so that
you're pulling up your with your back of the bikini. You're tying. You're making it tight, so everything is nice and tight. So you make sure you lift up your chest up. You take the bikini the bra top, the bottom of the top, the bra, and it's like you lift up your skin a little bit, and then you tie it. You know, you need somebody to help you tie it. And then you just make sure you keep your chest up, you know, and your booty up. And when you pose, you can slightly, when you hit a pose, you can slightly, like with your finger and you're hitting your pose, you can slightly, you know, tuck it like you know, how you say, you bring it back.
Wow.
Bring your skin back a little bit. So you can hide it. So a lot of people, like if you see there's a picture that I have on Instagram where I showed, it was January and then May when I competed in 2017. When that whole elasticity of my skin and the stretch mark, I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to get back on stage? But if you look at that before picture, that's how my stomach looked. If you look on the right, when I was getting ready 1 week out for Pittsburgh, 2017, it looks like I have nothing. It looks perfect.
Wow.
And it's all with your bikini top and how you pose. So that's why I really wanted to show ladies, like if you just hit your poses a certain way, you can hide a lot that they won't see it. And you won't see it in pictures.
That's crazy. So you literally like pull your skin back.
Yeah, you slightly pull it back and you hit your pose. And then you make your turn. And then you have to practice it. So then when you go front back again, when you walk back 1, 2, and you turn around, you have that hand already on your hip and you back pose.
Oh my gosh, what an adjustment, like to go through. I mean, you had already had your first child before, but you said earlier that your stomach actually and your skin actually
It
got,
got even worse
yeah.
with my second child, because with my first child, it was loose. I would have to pick up, if you were to look at videos, I would have to always pick up my trophy bending down on my knees and then stand up with with my hand hiding my stomach. You couldn't tell.
Oh my gosh, just
Because
sneaky.
if I was to bend forward, if I was to bend over to get my trophy, even though my stomach looked phenomenal, you would see the skin, the looseness, the elasticity of my skin hanging on
Wow.
my stomach. hmm But that's why I would always like bend down and then pick up the trophy and hold it instead of like bending over to pick it up. Oh, no way, I couldn't do that. So there's certain things that women have to, you do and you hide. Like, so that's why I tell everyone, like, if you want to compete, go ahead and compete. Get your body in shape. Go on stage. Don't worry about any flaws. So you can always hide it. You can cover it up. If that's a goal that you want to do, get on stage, then hey, go for it. Don't let nothing stop you from doing it.
That's
Don't let it.
amazing. I love that. You're genuinely like a positive and amazing example for women to see that, they don't have to doubt themselves or their abilities just because maybe their body looks different than someone else up there. You can still be successful and have fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And even when I started in 2010, in the pictures, if you can go back in pictures in 2010, when I did the NPC Eastern,
Hmm.
you can see that bulgeness on my stomach on with that dissecti recti, that bulges on the bulging on my stomach. But then as years kept going by, 2011, 2012, it just got better and better. They used to, in my, with the whole core training, and it
Hmm.
got better and better. And then but still the elasticity of the skin was still there. But
Right.
it takes time. But you can pose a certain way, and you can hide certain things.
Yeah,
You
and like
can,
you
yeah.
said, the water intake, the carbohydrates, the
Oh yeah,
diuretics, like it's all impacting how that comes together.
yeah, yeah. That's true. Because I think if I would have, if we would have taken more time, like now we know we needed more
Hmm.
time to carb up instead of like just keep depleting, then I would have been filled up nicer. But you always, it's a hit or miss.
It's always in retrospect, right? We're like, oh, if only,
Yeah,
if only I did
it's a hit or
that.
miss.
Yep.
But it.
Well, I genuinely do believe you're such an amazing example for moms and showing them that it is possible, which I know was your mission coming into this. And I'm actually really curious about your take on the bikini division now, because 2010 to 2020, it's like a world of a difference in terms of how people look.
Oh
Actually,
yeah.
I was just talking to India Paulino, actually. She's going to be in the episode, like, I think the day before you. But anyway, she was talking about her take on the difference in the bikini division. And I'm curious on how you feel about it now compared to when you started.
Oh no, I mean it's different now. Wow, from 2010 to now, it's more competitive. Like everyone looks like the muscle, like the shapeness, everything is just amazing. Like it's
Hmm.
big, because when I was competing, I wasn't as lean, and I still had some 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 fat in my some areas, and now it's just like, wow, like they're a little bigger. I say they're
Hmm.
bigger compared, but I really do love their physiques. I do. I mean,
Hmm.
I like how they look. I mean, I look, like look at Miss Olympia. I love her physique, her
Yeah.
structure, her, yeah.
So it's definitely interesting too coming from you because you had always been known for being more conditioned in the beginning stages, like back in 2010, 2014, all these different years. You had really been the more conditioned or more muscular athlete. So it makes sense as to why you would like the look now. But did you have to
Yeah.
change, like Did you change your training or your nutrition to start bringing that new look and satisfying the new criteria?
I was training, this time my husband was helping me with the training for now.
Okay.
Like before, it was just me. Like, because it wasn't that crazy before. Before I would do 15 pounds and I wouldn't squat like crazy or anything, or leg press. But now I was like, okay, I need help with shoulders. I need to build up these shoulders up. So he would help me. We would do heavier weights, less reps. And then like my protein was more compared to eating 3 ounces. I was eating 4 to 5 ounces of protein this time.
Mm-hmm.
But I still came in so small.
Yeah.
Like I still, like, even when with the whole water depletion and everything, like I felt like I was still so tiny on stage, you know, and these
Next
girls
to everybody.
are like big. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes I
But
see
I
the
mean,
pros backstage and I'm like, oh my God, they got a lot of muscle. Like I got a long way to go.
yeah, but it's funny how I was one of they used to say that I was more of a conditioned and more bigger back in the days, and I'm like, oh wow, but now I'm like, damn, these girls are like,
Yeah,
miniatures,
perspective.
like.
But it must be inspiring
Yeah.
too. Like you said, you would train really hard and you started lifting heavier and eating more, and that's helped you to
Yes.
actually start leveling up to that new criteria.
Yeah, and I did like how my body was looking, like and then like when I was lifting heavy and training, I loved like my quads, my glutes, my hamstrings, how it looks big. But then when you start dieting so much down, you start losing it.
Where's it going?
So I think I want to stay, I want to keep training. I still want to keep training heavy and but I still want to keep I want to say look big, but not bikini ready big, but
I'm
have
big
some
enough.
quads and glutes,
Yes.
hamstrings, shoulders.
Exactly. Like you get to like put more of that shape into it like bikini has, but at the level you really like and appreciate for yourself
That's what I
without.
like. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I really like? Like, I love how the wellness girls look. I don't know why.
Really?
I love the
Would you
big
ever try
glutes.
it?
Oh, I would need years.
I know, right?
To do
It would take so long putting on that amount of muscle. I'm like,
that amount of muscle. Like, I don't know. No, I don't think it's gonna happen for me.
like you see their
I would
off-season
need to take
photos.
some stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No doubt about it. I don't know anybody who just walks around looking like that.
Oh man, I would really have to dedicate a couple of years to that. Oh no. But yeah, I love I love the body. Like that's how I want to look now. But I mean, not to compete, but just, walk around looking like
Fuller.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, fuller.
for
Looking
sure.
like that, fuller. Just
Yeah,
like that.
the booty is fuller and rounder and bigger
Oh
and
yeah.
mhm.
Everything's right now. What it was, my husband was calling me what do you call that big shark, Megazilon, the Meg, would you a
The
Megazilon?
megalodon.
That yeah.
He's
That's what
calling
he
you
said I
that.
look like, right? Yeah.
Were you like, thank you, or what did you say?
I just tell him I'm gonna throw chop him if he's up. He's like, my goodness. I'm like, I'm gonna kick you. That's what I'm gonna do.
Oh my gosh. I think that your guys' dynamic is so interesting considering like you guys have known each other for so long and you knew each other
Oh
before you
yeah.
both got into this sport. So I'm imagining there must have been a lot of like changes, but also let me actually ask you, like, what do you guys do to keep things so lighthearted and fun? And you've been together for so long. Like, what do you think contributes to all those moments you have together and the closeness that you guys have? Not just,
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking
We
about?
don't take things. Yeah, I think for us, like we have our ups and downs, and we will fight. But I think we just keep each other. I mean, we won't let a fight go the next day. We'll make up and we laugh.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have fun. We communicate, we talk. So I mean, we keep things interesting. So, I think that's. But I mean, like, it's not. No, it's not peaches and cream over here all the time either. We get into our fights. But it's funny because you asked me, what do you guys fight about? I honestly, I can't, like, probably, I can't even remember what. You see, like, it's nothing.
Oh
It
my
would be
gosh.
nothing.
I was playing this game with my boyfriend yesterday and a few other couples like through Zoom, and they were like, who would be the first to apologize? And I said me. He said it would be me too. And it was funny because it's like, but we rarely fight, and then when we do, it's like
Oh,
it's like a great feeling, and I attribute it also to what you said, which is like the communication, and then also laughing a lot and keeping things like real. Like I really don't remember majority of the fights I've ever had with my boyfriend because
right?
of that.
You see? Yeah, you don't remember. It's like, what were we fighting about? I don't remember. I
I just
don't.
remember being pissed.
I just remember being pissed. Like, I'll tell you, I'll share a funny story with you.
Uh-huh.
Many years ago, just many years ago, he I don't know what we were fighting about in the house. So we were like wrestling each other because he's trying to kick me out the house. Like, he's trying to push me out the door. And I'm like, are you
Uh-huh.
crazy? And he's like trying to push me out. I'm like, so we're holding each other down. And I'm like, he's like, get out, get out. I'm like, no. So he actually kicked me out, right?
Oh
So I had
man.
no money. I had no money, no bag, no nothing. So I'm like, oh. So I started making noise. I'm like knocking on the door. Open door, open door. He wouldn't open the door. So from the window, I can see him sitting on the couch watching TV. So I'm like, open the door. So then I was like, okay, you don't want to open the door, right? So I said, I'm going to make a lot of noise. So let me tell you, I kicked the
Oh no.
door and then I kicked it again. That door fell down from my
Oh my
second
god.
kick.
What the
I
heck?
said, yeah. So that door fell all the way down. I was like, oh shit. So I was like, yeah, I'm like cursing. I was like, so I started cursing, being tough, going in the house. I was like, fuck that shit. This is my house. And I went into the kitchen and I got my bags and my keys and I walked out the door. This man wants to go behind me and he threw the door over the fence. I
Oh
said,
my
isn't that
god.
crazy? He's
That
like,
is
take this
crazy.
too.
Take your
No,
door
but
with
we
you.
have some, yeah,
How do you come
we
back
have
from
some
that?
crazy,
What did you
yeah.
do? Like, how
So,
did you guys end up
so
coming back?
So I ended up going walking around. I'm like, this man, I can't believe this. I'm like, unbelievable. So then he was calling me. He was like, what are you doing? I was like, don't call me. So then I think I went to watch a movie.
Oh my
So I
god.
didn't want to come back home. And then when I came back home, he was fixing the door. He said he had to go to Home Depot. He's like, you're crazy. Oh my God. I was like, yeah. Look at you. Look what you're doing right now. Fixing the door. Next time, don't kick me out of my house. But we have a lot of stories. Like, but it's just crazy. Like, I always tell people our relationship is like that movie, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Like, you know how they
Okay.
fight? That's
I
us.
actually haven't seen it, but I can imagine after that.
That's how we fight and we make up.
Oh my
Oh, you gotta
god.
watch it. It's
I'll watch
great
it.
though.
I'll definitely watch
But
it.
yeah, no, but we have such a great relationship. Like, oh, I love him to death. Like 20 years, and I still like will look back and I'm like, oh, it feels like it was yesterday, you know.
Aw.
But it's great. No, he's an awesome father. He's a great person, friend, everything. I wouldn't trade him for anything in the world.
Aw. And you guys actually work together too, and you designed the women's hoodies, right?
Yeah, so he started the conviction bodybuilding wear. He started designing like logos, and then he wanted to make shirts, and then he made sweaters, and then he's also wants to do like this whole nonprofit for kids,
That's
that are
awesome.
on the streets, and help them out with, like if they want to train, like he'll take them under his wing and he'll help them and talk to them, so that way they could be, instead of being out there doing crazy stuff, they can focus and get in the gym and train and think about other things. And so he's working on that now. And then on the website, I'm like, you're doing all these things for guys, let's do something for the women too.
Yeah.
So I said, let's, like, I'm like, so I'm sure women are not going to only want to wear big men's hoodies or t-shirts. I say we should get some nice cropped hoodies, nice little tank tops, t-shirts, and he's like, oh, okay. So we have a couple of other designs that are coming through other than the double bicep one for women. So, like a little change. And actually,
That's
when you put on the
awesome.
shirt, it makes you want to work out. It's like, yeah, I'm going to gym.
Exactly. There's always like certain clothing items or things you wear that are just like that gets you going, like it's your gym
Yes.
shirt. It's your kick-ass.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I'm going to kick ass with this at the gym. Here we go.
Yes. Everybody's gonna see it too, and they're gonna get inspired. Yeah. Actually, what
Yeah.
you were saying about the like helping kids get off the streets and focus on something else,
Yeah.
is that something that, because you said earlier you're from the ghetto. So is that
Yeah.
something you experienced?
Yeah, like he did too, him growing up, like kids just getting into trouble and just going a different direction. And, you have friends, you have the peer pressure, like, hey, let's do this or let's do that. So if you don't have a good head on your shoulder and you go ahead and follow, you're just going to go a whole different route. So some people wish that they had that person that could, guide them through something else and take them out of there. For me, like when I started going to school in the city in Manhattan, because I didn't want to go in the Bronx,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to get out and I wanted to take the train. I wanted to go into the city and, and that's how I just started, doing other things instead of always
Wow.
staying just right there in the neighborhood. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah.
Where do you
But
live
there's
with,
a lot of trouble kids.
like,
Where I live now?
yeah, like with your kids, do you still live in the Bronx?
Yeah, we live in the Bronx by Outlook Avenue, but we're not in where I grew up. We're not right there in the center anymore.
Oh,
But my
okay.
mom lives there, so we go there to visit. She would never leave. She's been there for years. She'll stay there. I tell her, Mom, you don't want to move and go somewhere? No, she's gonna always be there.
Do you ever worry about
Where I
your
grew up.
kids in the Bronx?
No, like where we at now, it's by the water. It's different because if people would come and visit, they would be like, "What is this? This is the Bronx." I'm like, "Yeah, this is the Bronx." So it's really nice. It's a gated community. It's in the
Mm-hmm.
back, it's they go to certain nice schools. But see, me growing up, I was always allowed to be in the parks and just hang out and go after school. But my kids know they either go to after school or they have their sports,
Uh-huh.
basketball or ballet or dance. Like I try to keep them occupied in different things. I don't want, I don't
Yeah.
want them to be out there but there's nowhere to go anywhere here. But where I grew up, yeah, you could have just be in the park and just get into trouble, like really crazy things. But
Dang.
I guess me knowing that, like, I don't want my kids to go through
Mm-hmm.
that. Like, I'm very overprotective over them. Like, I would not, they can't go have play dates in other friends' houses. No, they don't know. You can have your friends come here if they want, like, I wouldn't, like, let them, sleep over somewhere else. No.
Because you
But
had
back in
grown
the
up in
day,
that environment.
yeah, back in the days, you were able to do that many years ago. Like you'll have play dates. You'll go to different strangers' houses. Like, like, no, I wouldn't. Like, my kids, no way. But if you want to allow your kids to come over, hey, you can. They'll be safe, But I won't. We're very overprotective over them, me and my husband.
And then that also probably inspires why you guys want to start giving back and giving to kids in situations where maybe their family isn't able to protect them that way, or maybe
Yeah.
they're getting into those
Or if they
things.
can't afford, if they can't afford a gym and they want to work out or a session, like he will, he'll train them.
Oh,
If he gets a space, like he's looking for like a space, like a studio space or so that he can put equipment in there and just have them come, and he can go to different schools and talk to them and tell them, there's other things that you can do. Like that.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I love that you guys are doing that. I think that that's just awesome. And, you must be really busy as well because you're doing that and you have sponsorships and you're a mom and you're a pro athlete. So, what does a normal day look like for you?
No, for me, a normal day, like, well,
Mm-hmm.
no, I mean, now with the quarantine, or
Oh
probably
yeah,
before.
right. Let's say before.
Well, before it would be I would get up, I would get the girls ready for school. They'll have their breakfast. My husband would be leaving to go to the gym to train his clients, and then I would end up going after I dropped them off in school. I would go to the gym. I would work out, and then after I work out, I'll come home. I'll prepare dinner for them. I'll get ready. I have to go to work. And then I go into the city, and then I work
What do you
for
do
8
for
hours
work?
in a hotel in front desk, a
Oh,
receptionist. Yeah.
okay. I didn't know
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, I work full time. Now I don't, but yeah, was working
Right.
full time. And then after work, I'll come home and then do it all over again. So it's like it's
Wow.
crazy because I didn't have time to see my kids at the time or my husband, like, because we took turns, and then he would pick them up and he'll bring them home. But it was always tag team, you know. Okay, your turn, tag you're it. So I would never see him. I only see him like maybe on his when I was off from work. I would see that's when we would spend, you know, like if it's a day off, I would have. But now, and so it would have all the time. That's how it was. And then on a day that I didn't have to go to work, it would be the same thing. Like take them to school, pick them, go to the gym, come home, pick them up, come home, make dinner, hang out, homework, go to bed, and do it all over again.
Oh my gosh. So do you,
Yeah.
when let's say the situation wasn't happening, you'd be working like night shifts after doing all that?
Yeah, I'll work like a 3 to 11.
Wow.
And then some days I would work like a 7 to 3 in the morning, 7 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon on the weekends. So I will
Dang.
have like maybe one day off during the week. And that one day I have to do laundry. I have to, you know, go food
Yeah.
shopping. I have to.
Like get
So
ready
it's
for
like
the
a
week.
lot. Yeah, I gotta get ready for the week, and you got laundry, you gotta clean, you know. Like I mean, I'm sure people when I was competing, people used to be like, "You do that? There, you work? Yes, I work. I clean. I cook. I do everything.
Mm-hmm.
I just." But I guess they don't. They picture it differently. Like
Right.
they just think that you just go to the gym and come home and just chill. No, it's
No,
not.
it's everything on top of that.
Yeah, yeah. Everything else.
So yeah, that's awesome to hear because there's a lot of people I think who wonder like how do you manage all of that or what does a normal day look like and how do you actually work through it? And you just mentioned like you don't see your husband a lot, but and you do spend the time with your kids, helping them, doing work with them. Obviously, right now you're spending a lot more time with them, but how would
Yeah.
you prioritize family time and time for your relationship when you are so busy?
With family time and with my family.
Yeah, with your
Or
family, with your husband, like how do you prioritize that time?
oh, that's oh, we would go to the movies if we want to go out, or we'll go to dinners. We'll take instead of staying here, we'll go out. We'll take them to dinners, or we'll take the girls if they want to do either ice skating, like when they wanted to go to the park or to the amusement, like anything like that. That's what we'll do. Like we'll like not stay home. We'll just do something. Like, oh, we have all this time. Let's go do this. Let's do that.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate everything you've shared with us today. And I always like
Oh.
to end the episode with some advice. And you've given a lot of great advice already, but I'm going to ask anyway, so nothing goes left unsaid. What is some advice you would give to someone who wants to be a mom, but is worried about taking time away from competing?
Oh no, I think you definitely you can still be a mom and still compete. You it's I mean you're it's going to be different because of course you're going to have a baby. It's going to be tough because you're going to tell yourself when am I going to go to the gym and stuff. Like before, I was taking once the baby was 3 months old. I was taking her with me to the gym, to the babysitting gyms. They had daycare. I would train for an hour and pick her up, and no guilt. You have to take care of yourself, you know. And with the whole competing thing, you know, you definitely you can still do it. There's no holding back. You will find a way. Once you have your baby, and you know, you it's like you write yourself a schedule, and this is what you're gonna do from this time to this time, and yeah, you can definitely do it. I did it twice.
Yes. I
I did
love
it
that.
twice.
And so now what advice would you give to a mom who wants to get into competing?
For a mom that wants to get into competing,
Mhm.
I would say it's not going to be easy. But it's not going to be hard. Step by step, with the training, take 2 hours out of your day, at least an hour for an hour and a half for the gym. And then, I mean, you can still have the house ready, I'm sure, with dinners and the baby.
Mhm.
I suck at this, girl.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You're doing
I
amazing. Like,
mean,
you've given
you
us
you
so
have
much
to,
insight.
you have to. I mean, you can do it. I say there's so much you can do. Babies,
Wow.
no babies, mom, you can do it. You can do it all.
I love that.
Just put it all in there, and whatever's in your bucket list, do it.
That
Don't
is
hold back.
awesome. I love that. No, you're so amazing. Seriously, I appreciate you giving us that insight and
Aw.
yeah, all your experiences and the things that you have learned over time and now this great advice too. Just thank you so much for your time and for coming on
Oh
and
no, thank you.
of
Thank you. No,
course.
thank you.
Yes, of course. No, it's a pleasure to have you, and I want everyone to be able to tag you as they listen or after they listen or just connect with you. So, do you mind sharing where they can find you or connect with you?
Yeah, absolutely. On Instagram, it's at YESHAIRA. And you can also do, if you, DM messages. I would
Uh-huh.
prefer if you email me better. And the email button is right on my profile. And I always, I'm constantly checking my email. Sometimes the DMs, it takes me forever to get to that one. But no, like, listen, anything, just send me an email, message me, and any questions, anything at all. Like, seriously, like, I love to help out. I love to, whatever I can do, just let me know.
Oh, you're so sweet and so genuine. And I just appreciate you guys listening to as well to everybody who's been listening. Thank you. And I'm gonna put all those links, the Instagram and the email on the show notes
Yeah.
page. So that's gonna be on www.celestial.fit/podcast. You guys, it's always in the category section, so you can find her there. Or of course, if you're listening to this right away, it's gonna be right at the top. So make sure you guys check that out, connect with her. Obviously, we've all learned how amazing she is. So thank you again so much for coming on. I
Oh,
really
thank you,
appreciate it.
Celeste. Thank you.
Of course,
No,
and
thank you.
of course, and everybody listening, I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day, night, or morning, wherever you are in the world while you're listening to this episode. Just make it awesome.